Hello, hope you're all doing well and welcome to another video. So this video is about two guitars really. The first one is my Les Paul Junior. Gibson Custom Shop 58 Les Paul Junior double cut. So this is the recreation of the late 50s Les Paul Junior. The budget guitar, the student guitar, which was very popular with players because of its kind of raw, unfiltered sound, and really it's got a unique sound because of the lack of the neck pickup. It seems to have more sustain, and it's very well regarded and people love this guitar. So this is the Gibson Custom Shop VOS finish. Smells lovely, and it's kind of minty. Just a hint of a tiny little ding there, which I did, I have to say. I bought this some years ago, and it's just been a fantastic guitar. However, I've gone and bought another one, but not one of these. I'll show you. Why, it's the same, you might say. It's the same guitar. It's, to all intents and purposes, a 1959 Les Paul Junior. But this one is actually a real one. So this isn't Gibson Custom Shop. This is a Gibson from 1959. And you can see the ink stamp serial number and the single P90 and a very, very nice unfaded body, which is quite rare to see actually. And look at that figuring. Now this is way more vibrant and colourful in the flesh than the Gibson Custom Shop one. Although the Gibson Custom Shop one is a worthy recreation. This one is just so much better. It's more lively, and the P90 sounds incredible. However, I'm not going to prejudice your choice. You may prefer the Custom Shop, so I'm going to do a demonstration, a comparison of these two guitars. Now this one, I'm still getting used to. I've only got it very recently. It's got a really great Brazilian rosewood fretboard, replacement tuners. These are Cluson recreations, and the wee bushings. You see the wee bushings. Now they are the budget bushings. The more expensive ones were kind of knurled a wee bit, so you could push them in, press fit, and they would stay in place because they would kind of like bite into the wood a wee bit. But these ones are the original bushings, I suspect, and not exactly stable in the hole. But that's how they all are. Might replace the bushings at some point, but it's crack free and a fantastic unfaded example. Holding it up there. Fantastic old mahogany. I think it's Honduran in those days. There's a few wee dings and stuff like that, marks, but really it's the best one I've seen for a while. And I have to thank Steve Hove at ATB Guitars down in England for selling me this, which is absolutely lovely. There's a couple of scuffs on this side. That's probably the worst of them. But really, when it comes to juniors, these things were student guitars, kind of beginners guitars that were rediscovered by rockers like Johnny Thunders and people like that. And I think I remember seeing the guy from the Buzzcocks playing one of these back in the day in the late 70s, and maybe even the guy from the Clash. I forget their names now. Is it Mick Jones? And I don't know, Steve Diggle or something like that from the Buzzcocks. Anyway, this was a very popular guitar in the late 70s because it was cheap. It wasn't the expensive Gibson. This is a student model. However, it sounds fantastic. It's all original as far as I can tell. Could it be refretted? Well, Steve Hove says no. Possibly, I think I agree with him, although it's hard to tell. If it was a fret job, it's a really, really good one. So to compare these two guitars, well, I've done a sound demo, and it's hard to do a visual comparison, but the back of the guitars, you can see how largely this is the... See what you see? Which one is it? Which one is the old one? This one. This is the custom shop. Not much between them. Just shows you that the Gibson custom shop have made good woods. Now I'll turn them around, and on the front, but in the room, the old one just seems to glow from the inside. The Gibson custom shop is a wee bit duller in terms of the finish. This one seems to have an internal luminescence about it. But a very creditable reissue Gibson have made with this 1958 Junior. This is an actual genuine 59. And the frets are very similar. This one's got slightly smaller neck than this one. It's an early 59, I think. So going into later 58. I'm not sure how Gibson did their necks, whether they gradually slimmed them down until 1960, or whether they just slimmed down in steps. But this one's quite a beefy neck. If you like big necks, this is great. I am deciding what to do with... I'm not going to sell that one. I've just bought it, and it's amazing. So, I think I might sell this one. We'll see though, because I do like it. So anyway, on to the comparison. Quizzical thumbnail. What do you make of that? Is the vintage any better? Is the reissue better than the vintage, or vice versa? Or would a Harley Benton do? Because I did do a video with the Harley Benton versus the Gibson Custom Shop, and a lot of people weren't convinced that the Gibson was much better. So I'm not sure what you make of that. Whether I wish I still had it actually. I did sell it, and I could have done a great comparison between the 59 and the Harley Benton. I wonder how that would have gone down. Maybe people would think the Harley Benton was just as good. It's all individual choices and highly subjective. My opinion, though, for what it's worth, is the 59 is so much better than the Custom Shop. And I wasn't convinced that the Harley Benton was miles ahead of the Custom Shop. It was still a really good guitar, but I did do a lot to it. New nut, and a new bridge and everything like that. So, what did you think anyway? Did you think the vintage was miles ahead? Or is the Custom Shop version just as good? Or maybe the Gibson USA version is just as good? Maybe you own one. So comment down below, and I'll see you next time.